tendency to believe that low-grossing films must be boring, unrelatable, or poorly made. The revenue a movie generates is often a good indicator of its quality, but there are always exceptions to the rule. Remarkable films sometimes struggle to draw a crowd during their theatrical run, and there are plenty of reasons for why this can occur. Sometimes marketing campaigns are simply uninteresting, or bad press can arise due to controversy. Any number of issues could all contribute to poor turnout. Regardless of the cause, failure to gather a large audience often comes as a bit of a shock. After all, producers only pour money into projects that they have reason to believe will generate high returns. Low box office numbers are disappointing, but they do not determine whether a movie is poor or great. Some of the most well-respected motion pictures in history didn't receive recognition until well after they exited theaters. Normally, it's a good thing for a movie to be ahead of its time, but once in a while, a film is too far ahead for it to resonate with audiences. Even though well-crafted features sometimes underperform financially, they prove their greatness when cinema lovers continue engaging with them years later. And so, with that in mind, I'm Ellie with Whatculture here with 10 incredible films that bombed at the box office. Number 10. The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Production budget was $30 million, but the box office earnings were $15 million. The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford is an excellent Western film. It follows the uneasy connection between Jesse James, the famed outlaw, and Robert Ford, a man who idolizes him and is desperate to join his gang. As the story progresses, things don't happen as Ford imagined they would. He grows resentful of James, leading to increasingly tense moments throughout the movie. It presents a fascinating look inside late 19th century gang life. The substance of a film is important, but marketability is key when it comes to drawing a large audience. Among the biggest problems for this motion picture was its long runtime and difficult title. The movie clocks in at roughly 160 minutes, which demands a lot of attention from viewers. Its title is unique and attention-grabbing, but for all the wrong reasons. Moviegoers are typically attracted to short, snappy titles that generate intrigue. The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford is neither short nor intriguing, but instead spells out exactly what will happen between the two titular characters. Despite the overly long title and runtime, this feature contains tremendous performances from Brad Pitt and Casey Affleck. Also noteworthy is the picturesque and imaginative cinematography. The director of photography, Roger Deakins, adjusted antique lenses to create a unique look reminiscent of photographs taken during the late 1890s. These aspects have all been deeply appreciated in the years since the movie's release, and rightfully so. Number 9. The Road. The production budget was $25 million. The box office earnings were $28 million. Audiences love going to movies to escape reality. It is what many motion pictures offer people the chance to do, but The Road doesn't provide that option. Instead, it paints a picture of a potential future reality that is bleak and depressing. Adapted from Cormac McCarthy's best-selling novel, the story explores the relationship between a father and son as they navigate a dangerous post-apocalyptic world. It is full of both tender moments and frightening sequences. Viggo Mortensen is deeply compelling as a tired yet dutiful father in a hopeless world. The atmosphere throughout the film is dramatic and captivating, particularly in terms of visuals. The color tones are dull, but that adds to the haunting beauty of the cinematography. Despite everything the movie had going for it, audiences weren't too keen to see it in theaters. The lack of feel-good vibes or traditional action is often blamed for the poor turnout in cinemas. It's too bad because this film has a lot to offer. Number 8. Zodiac. The production budget was $65 million and the box office earnings were $84.7 million. The longer a movie is, the more difficult it becomes to convince viewers to sit through it. Zodiac is over 2.5 hours long and is deadly serious all throughout. The story is centered on the amateur detective work of Robert Graysmith, a newspaper cartoonist who is obsessed with finding the Zodiac killer. It is a mentally taxing movie to watch, but it pays off for those who sit through all of it. Unfortunately, not enough people were willing to make that bargain during its theatrical run. Apart from the long runtime, the lack of action sequences dulled interest in the picture. Despite disappointing financial returns, Zodiac remains a fantastic slow-burn crime drama. Jake Gyllenhaal leads the film alongside Mark Ruffalo and Robert Downey Jr. The performances by Gyllenhaal and Ruffalo are exceptional. Both actors disappear into their roles entirely, making it easy for viewers to get sucked into the story. The eerie and mysterious tone of the movie is deeply captivating, and it further solidified David Fincher's standing as a visionary director with nuanced storytelling capabilities. Number 7. Blade Runner 2049. The production budget was $150 million, with a box office earnings of $259 million. Blade Runner 2049 is an extraordinary motion picture and one of the greatest sequels ever produced. It tells the story of Kane, a replicant Blade Runner who discovers a life-changing secret during one of his assignments. What follows is a search for answers that could change the fabric of society. It may not seem like Blade Runner 2049 flopped at the box office based on the numbers that we just mentioned, but producers said the movie needed to make about $400 million to break even. It fell well shy of that, mostly due to slow pacing, a complex theme, and long runtime. Ridley Scott stated that he would have cut half an hour of the film. Now that may have increased Blade Runner 2049's earnings, but it would have damaged its reputation in the long run because it's near perfect as it is. It is disappointing that A-listers Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford were not a big enough draw for general moviegoers. They display some remarkable acting, as do all members of the supporting cast. Denis Villeneuve's expert direction received plenty of critical approval, but the same cannot be said commercially. Despite its relatively low gross, Blade Runner 2049 features stunning cinematography, incredible visual effects, and a compelling story. The box office performance was forgettable, but the film itself is anything but. Number 6. Children of Men. The production budget was $76 million, but the box office earnings were only $70.5 million. The premise of Children of Men is both horrifying and fascinating. Humanity has somehow lost the ability to reproduce. The world devolves into chaos, and there doesn't seem to be much hope. However, there is a group that is determined to cure human infertility, but their mission has little chance of success. Children of Men is a heavy film that is difficult to watch, but it is undeniably powerful due to the high stakes. Beyond that, the cinematography is often handheld and puts viewers right alongside the characters, making it feel that much more real. Clive Owen stars in the movie and does a stellar job. He is supported by Julianne Moore and Michael Kane, who also give strong performances. Director Alfonso Cuarón puts his talents on full display, masterfully riding the line between hope and despair all throughout the picture. Sadly, these contributions went largely unnoticed, as the difficult subject matter didn't invite casual moviegoers to make the trip to the cinema. Even though the box office numbers were less than impressive, that hasn't stopped this feature from being recognized as a remarkable achievement. Number 5. Citizen Kane. The production budget was $840,000 and the box office earnings were $1.6 million. Citizen Kane is widely considered to be one of the greatest films of all time. It tells the story of a reporter who searches for the meaning of the final word uttered by Charles Foster Kane, a wealthy newspaper publisher. The movie was entirely unique at the time it was released. The filmmakers used new methods of lighting and employed camera techniques that had not been seen before. Even the story structure was vastly different from other motion pictures of its day. The very landscape and language of cinema was changed after its release. Orson Welles both directed and starred in the film. He was outstanding in both positions. Critics loved the picture, but average cinema goers hadn't quite developed a taste for Welles' style while it was playing in the theatres. It may have been a financial failure, but its lasting impact on the entertainment industry cannot be denied. The way in which the story was told, from script to cinematography to acting methods, have been replicated and built upon ever since Citizen Kane was put out into the world. It's a timeless classic, and the box office means nothing to it now. Number 3. Phantom Thread. The production budget was $35 million and the box office earnings were $48 million. Daniel Day-Lewis had a magnificent acting career. He was known to put everything he had into his performances. Phantom Thread is a romance film that also delves deeply into the topic of obsession. It is focused more on characters than it is on story, which made it difficult for many people to engage with. The movie is not nearly as dull as it sounds though. Lewis is brilliant as always, and Vicky Krieps matches his intensity in her role as Reynolds Woodcock's love interest. Leslie Manville is also remarkable as Reynolds' sister and business partner. The cinematography and the tone of the story are both beautiful and elegant. Phantom Thread is a wonderfully emotional motion picture that many people sadly missed during its time in theatres, but that doesn't mean its impact can't stretch into the future. Number 2. Jarhead. The production budget was $72 million and the box office earnings were $97 million. Americans do not like to have their military criticised in any respect, but Jarhead is quite merciless in its depiction of the sometimes futile work of the US military. The movie centres on a young Marine who struggles to find purpose in his service. He goes through much of his training and duty with the realisation that it was a waste of time and wasn't what he thought thought it would be. The decision to release this film just a few short years after the September 11 attacks was a bold one. Despite the controversy, Sam Mendes did an impressive job of directing. He excellently conveys the boredom of the Marines without making things dull for the audience. Acting is another highlight of this motion picture. The performances from Jake Gyllenhaal, Peter Sarsgaard, Jamie Foxx, and others are incredibly powerful and authentic. Jarhead is a visual masterpiece as well. The cinematography is gorgeous in each and every scene. Film fans have warmed up to this feature over the years, but it may have been released too soon to make a real impact in theaters. Number 1. Silence. The production budget was $46 million, but the box office earnings were only $24 million. Martin Scorsese is one of the greatest directors to ever live, but even he is not immune to a box office flop. Silence was a passion project of his, one he had wanted to make for many years. Unfortunately, not a lot of people were as eager about the movie as he was. The story centers on two Jesuit priests in 17th century Japan. Both of them struggle to lead newly converted Christians in their faith, which has been made illegal. The setting is rather depressing, which made it less inviting for casual moviegoers to engage with. The long runtime didn't help matters either. Few people elected to make the trip to see this motion picture in the cinema, which is a shame because it is full of breathtaking cinematography and heartbreaking performances. Andrew Garfield, Adam Driver, and Liam Neeson are all tremendous in their roles. They clearly convey the spiritual anguish of the priests they play. Even though the film didn't build much traction during its theatrical run, it has only gained recognition and praise since then.